welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This episode, we're going to introduce some music into the whole equation. Right now, I'm just fine-tuning some of this stuff, because I can see that I am not speaking very loud comparatively. How about now? Okay. I believe that is showing that the music is now half as loud as I am, which might still be kind of loud, but c'est la vie, I guess. Anyway, this episode's going to be kind of a short episode because I only have 15 minutes till I need to go somewhere. And in it, we're simply going to explain and go over how the new magic system works in the game that I'm making. Customizable magic. How does it work? Also, in case you're wondering, yes, this is Lo-Fi Girl. All coders listen to it. Anyway, so here in my game, Just Duel, we are making it a Souls-like, but we have customizable weapons, we have customizable weapon animations that the player can kind of choose from and mess around with, and most importantly, we have customizable magic. And the way that it works in theory is that you have a weapon. I'm going to show you this via art. You have a weapon, like a sword, let's say, and you go to an anvil, and on the anvil, which you saw here on this game, you engrave shapes, archaic looking symbols, and these shapes each correspond to something, and when you put different combinations of shapes together, you get different spells, like fire, or let's say maybe ice. Well, that might not be totally true, because I don't think we're going to have elemental magic in this game. But it could, in theory, be easily implemented. Anyway. So how does it work exactly? Well, this game, or the magic system, is basically a simplified, archaic version of visual scripting. And the format is this. We have a base. We have a base object. And this object is a circle for now. There's two kinds of bases. There's a circle, and then there's a line. Circles loop. Lines just go through whatever is attached to them once. And you'll understand what I mean. And then, yeah, so speaking of attaching things, what happens is the player will then be able to attach objects or different types of symbols to these circles. So, and these objects all do different things. So, and then after you have a bunch of objects that are all attached and it looks nice and interesting, what happens is the script that's attached to this base shape right here, the circle or the line, goes through and makes a list of all the different symbols that are inside of it. Okay? Now, what symbols are going to be inside of this thing? Well, first, we have the base itself, already mentioned, which is either a circle or a line. These are looping spells, or they will be in theory, and lines are just, it starts, and then it ends. Okay, but every spell needs a cost, so there will be some sort of indicator for cost, and maybe you want to steal mana, so it would cost mana, and maybe you want to steal mana, and then you would need a target. So in mine, circles are our own character, and squares would be maybe the other character. And then they need triggers. So once again, one side is supposed to be circular, and the other side is supposed to be kind of a square shape to figure out who triggers it. This would be a symbol on its own. And then we have symbols that represent actions. So maybe you would want to reference a certain object, like a cube, and then you would maybe want to make a copy of that cube and put it somewhere else or launch it at your opponent. Now, that means we're going to not only need references to our player or our target. Actually, that's what these symbols are. We are going to need references to objects in general, which leads us to the next set of symbols, which are reference symbols. So once again, the base would be a circle or a square, depending on like which one it is, whether you're referencing a position or an object near another player or yourself or another enemy or yourself. And then we would have a series of empty objects around our player. And from there, we could like pick which point we'd want to access. So this is what the symbol is that I've already made in this game. And I'll show you. Potentially. Here we are. So this would be the trigger input right here. P aura means our player aura, which is kind of the archaic name that I'm using for these field of empty objects. Okay. And then we have to move the actual objects or copy them. So we would need a symbol for moving, or we would need a symbol for copying. So that, let's say, you wanted to take your sword that you made earlier and give yourself two swords. So you'd have to copy it, let's say, and give yourself a magic sword. Now, this is all nice and fancy, but how are we going to do all this and more? Well, I'm going to go through and show you just some clips of each of these little things. Not these things specifically. These are just the images. But what we're going to do now is go to our prefabs, scriptables, and I believe these are our scriptable objects, but what we want are these right here, which are the actual word objects. At some point, I'm probably actually at some point, I'm gonna go over how these all work, because I only have 7 minutes until I need to leave. But this video is sort of an introduction video to how we're gonna make this magical system. And there's obviously more to it. We would need to be able to manage and make sure that once our player puts a spell, makes a spell, that they would actually include, let's say, a cost to their own mana, or even potentially to their opponent's mana, but we'd have to figure out a way to manage that. Anyway, let me think. Is there anything I've missed that I want to show you in this introductory video of what type of customizable magic system I'm making before, you know, I sign off and get ready to go to my thing? I think that's it. Okay, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. If you did, I will see you all next time.